The usher blocked my path and looked at my sister for confirmation. She didn't even glance at me. "She's just the janitor," my sister said, adjusting the diamond bracelet on her wrist. "She doesn't belong here." A few people nearby laughed politely. The kind of laugh people give when they don't want to upset the bride. I stood there in my Navy maintenance uniform, a mop bucket behind me, my name badge clipped crookedly to my shirt. I said nothing. 10 minutes later, her husband's bank account froze. 10 minutes after that, his career was over, and just as the whispers started spreading across the marble ballroom, the general walked in and kissed my hand. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My sister Emily and I weren't always like this. When we were kids, we shared everything. A bedroom, secrets whispered after midnight, dreams about the lives we'd live once we escaped our small town. Emily was the beautiful one, effortlessly charming, the kind of person people noticed the second she entered a room. I was the quiet one, the observer, the one who remembered details. When Emily met Daniel Carter 5 years ago, she called me the same night. "He's perfect," she said breathlessly. "Finance executive. Powerful family. He's going places." I was genuinely happy for her. At the engagement party, Daniel shook my hand and smiled like a politician. Warm, confident, calculated. "Emily says you're very smart," he said. I smiled politely. What I didn't say was that I had already looked him up. In my line of work, curiosity isn't a flaw. It's survival. I noticed things. Small things at first. Daniel's firm had irregular financial patterns. Funds shifting between subsidiaries, shell companies appearing and disappearing like ghosts. Nothing illegal on paper, but close enough to the edge that someone could push him over. I told myself it wasn't my business. Then Emily stopped calling. When we did talk, she sounded different. Sharp, dismissive, like she'd rewritten our history and decided I no longer fit inside it. By the time the wedding invitations went out, mine never arrived. But the venue did. The Carter wedding was held at the Grand Imperial Hotel, a place with gold ceilings, marble floors, and the kind of security system only 3 people in the city knew how to override. I was one of them, because I didn't work for the hotel. I worked for the Federal Financial Crimes Task Force, Cyber Division. Daniel Carter had been on our radar for 18 months. But investigations need timing, evidence, and sometimes a stage. Which brings us back to the ballroom. Emily looked radiant in her white gown, standing beneath a cascade of crystal lights. Daniel stood beside her, shaking hands with senators, CEOs, and military officers. Power attracts power. I pushed my mop bucket quietly across the polished floor, listening, observing, waiting. When Emily told the usher I was just the janitor, it didn't hurt the way she probably expected. Pain is loud. But betrayal, real betrayal, is quiet. It settles into your chest like cold steel. And then it sharpens. I stepped into the staff hallway and pulled out my phone. One message. That's all it took. The Financial Crimes Unit had been waiting for the authorization code. My code. I typed it calmly. Send. Across the city, automated systems woke up. Federal asset seizure protocols activated. Daniel Carter's corporate accounts locked. Personal accounts frozen. Investment portfolios flagged. At exactly 7:42 p.m., his phone buzzed. I saw the moment his smile cracked. Another buzz. Then another. A bead of sweat formed near his collar. Guests began whispering. Someone checked their phone and frowned. A senator stepped away from Daniel mid-conversation. Then 2 men in dark suits entered through the main doors. Federal agents. Not subtle ones. Emily looked confused. Daniel looked terrified. I leaned against the wall, watching the dominoes fall. One agent approached Daniel and spoke quietly. I couldn't hear the words, but I knew them. Daniel Carter, your accounts have been frozen pending investigation for federal financial fraud. Emily's face went pale. The room buzzed with quiet panic, and then the ballroom doors opened again. Every soldier in the room straightened instantly. General Marcus Hale stepped inside. Decorated war hero. Director of the task force overseeing Daniel's investigation. The man who'd recruited me 2 years earlier. His eyes scanned the room. Then he spotted me. Still standing beside a mop bucket. Still wearing the janitor uniform. He crossed the ballroom without hesitation. People parted for him like water. Emily watched in confusion as the general stopped directly in front of me. Then he did something that shattered the room's fragile illusion. He took my hand and kissed it. Agent Carter, he said clearly. The silence that followed was beautiful. Emily's mouth opened, closed, Daniel stared at me like he'd just realized the trap had been waiting beneath his feet the entire time. You, he whispered. I met his eyes, calm, controlled, patient. Funny thing about cleaning, I said softly. You start noticing where the dirt really is. Agents moved in behind him. Gus stepped back. Emily looked like someone had pulled the ground from under her life. And for the first time that evening, she really looked at me. Not the janitor, not the sister she'd erased, but the woman who had quietly dismantled everything they'd built. Daniel was escorted out in handcuffs. His phone kept buzzing. Lawyers, partners, banks. Too late. Emily stood alone in the center of the ballroom, her perfect wedding collapsing around her. She whispered my name. I paused at the door, looked back once, not with anger, not even with satisfaction, just clarity. Next time, I said quietly, be careful who you call invisible. Then I walked out, and for the first time in years, the silence between us felt clean.